Every adversity is an opportunity. The harder it is, the more value it holds. They believe that adversity makes us better if we let it. Hey guys, Todd from ConstructionLeadingEdge.com here. Thanks for listening. I want to jump into this, and maybe you've heard this Johnny Cash song. See if these lyrics sound familiar. Johnny starts the song off by saying, well, my daddy left home when I was 3, didn't leave very much to my mom and me except this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Now, I don't blame him because he run and hid, but the meanest thing that my daddy ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue. This is the song A Boy Named Sue. And then later on in the song, Johnny runs into his dad. They get in a fight in a bar, and he realizes what's going on, and Sue's father said to him, and he said, son, this world is rough, and if a man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough. I knew I wouldn't be there to help you along. So I give you that name, and I said goodbye, and I knew you'd have to get tough or die. It's that name that helped to make you strong. You see, the guy who named his son Sue was a master of manufacturing adversity. He was a manufacturing adversity master. He understood why to do it and how to do it, and that's what this episode is all about. Manufacturing adversity. We're going to talk about a few things here before we're done. Number one, some misconceptions around comfort. Number two, why you want to manufacture adversity for yourself and for your team. And then number three, how to do it, how to manufacture adversity in a way that doesn't make you a psycho. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. So let's talk about some of those myths and misconceptions, the Sasquatches and jackalopes and chupacabras, the myths about comfort. So imagine that somebody came to you and said, all right, here's your task. Your job is to design a program to train people to accomplish really hard things. Maybe your job is to design a program to train people to do some of the toughest jobs in America or wherever you're at on the planet. So it could be to prepare somebody to be a police officer, maybe to prepare somebody to be a cardiovascular surgeon or to work on a fishing boat out in the North Atlantic. So think about this. How would you do it? How would you prepare somebody to do what many would consider to be one of the hardest jobs in the world? Well, chances are pretty good that you would include some things that made them uncomfortable, right? In other words, you would probably put them under some stress. You would not do a police officer any favors by creating a stress-free environment. You wouldn't create a good cardiovascular surgeon if they couldn't handle stress. If prior to their first surgery, they're literally holding someone's heart in their hands, if that was the first time they had dealt with stress, they probably wouldn't be a good program. You would not have done your job in creating the program. So if you were creating a program for someone to be successful, to do a hard job, you would probably put them under some stress. Sort of like years ago, maybe close to 20 years ago, I did a stint in the estimating departments for a large commercial general contractor that I was working for. I actually thought I was going to get fired because I got sent to the estimating office, but that wasn't the case. That's a long story. But while I was in there, one of the things that Dave, the lead estimator, did was he had us go through a mock bid day exercise. And this is back when dinosaurs roamed the land and we still used adding machines to put numbers together and everything was handwritten. So the way it worked was on bid day, people were faxing in, no kidding, people were faxing in their bids. Subcontractors and suppliers were faxing in their bids. Sometimes they were calling their bids in minutes before the bid was due. All right, this is a competitive bid, public bid opening type environment where if you didn't turn your bid in on time and you missed the timestamp, then you would miss out on multi-million-dollar projects. So very stressful environment. So what Dave did was he put all of us young estimators in a conference room, and we had about an hour-long mock estimating exercise, a bid day exercise where he would come through and pass out, okay, here's the bid from the electrician, here's the bid from the HVAC guy, here's the elevator bid, and he would create these scenarios, created a real-life scenario, and then he's telling us, all right, you have 10 minutes, bid's due in 5 minutes, what are you doing? Creating this stress, because bid day was stressful. So he was doing his job creating that. And you see, there's this myth that all stress is bad. One thing Dave understood is that not all stress is bad. There are realistic stresses, but not all stress is bad. Because there are two types of stress. There is distress, where there's a negative stress response, but there's another type of stress that a lot of people don't talk about, and that is eustress. E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S. Eu, like the first two letters in euphoria. And eustress means a positive form of stress that creates motivation, that creates change, that actually creates high performance. See, Dave was using eustress. He was putting this pressure on us that would motivate us to perform well on bid day. It actually was a good thing. Not all stress is bad. The Navy SEALs have a saying, it goes something like this. When something sucks, they say full benefit. So when something goes bad, piece of equipment breaks down, full benefit. If they're out on a run or they're out making themselves into sugar cookies on the beach, rolling around in the surf off the coast of San Diego, they say full benefit. It is an instant mindset shift. See, the way they look at it is that every adversity is an opportunity. Every adversity is an opportunity. The harder it is, the more value it holds. They believe that adversity makes us better if we let it. See, when you're a Navy SEAL, I'm not a Navy SEAL, but I've interviewed a few and I've read a lot about Navy SEALs. And when you're a Navy SEAL, you want to be the most lethal, the most dangerous, the most unstoppable guy in the fight, right? That's what you would want to be if you're a Navy SEAL. You'd want to be the most lethal, the most dangerous, the most unstoppable guy in the fight. And the only way to become those things is to go through adversity. So when things suck, they say full benefit because they're getting the full benefit. When things are hard, they look at it as this is good. This is making me tougher. This is making me more lethal. This is making me more unstoppable. This is making me more versatile or agile, better prepared for whatever situation I may face in the future. So when things suck, they say full benefit. So now let's talk about why you want to manufacture adversity. Why would you want to intentionally manufacture adversity? Maybe you're wondering about that. Think about this saying. Growth and comfort can't ride the same horse. I'll say that again. Growth and comfort can't ride the same horse. In other words, growth and comfort do not coexist. Growth and comfort do not coexist. You can have one or the other. You don't get to have both. You don't get to have growth and comfort. If you want to build muscle in the gym, it's either growth or comfort. You want to lose weight, it's either growth or comfort. You want to grow as a leader, grow as a business owner, become the CEO of a business, you get to choose either growth or comfort. Growth and comfort can't ride the same horse. Here's another reason why to manufacture adversity, because adversity produces perseverance, and perseverance is a superpower. Adversity produces perseverance, and perseverance is a superpower. If you're a Bible reader, maybe you've read James chapter 1 that says something to the effect of, count it all joy when you face trials and tests or adversity, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Count it all joy. Do the math when you go through adversity, when you go through trials and tests, because you know that the testing of your faith, because you know that adversity produces perseverance. Hey, Todd here again. And if you're a custom home builder, a remodeler, or a commercial general contractor doing smaller projects, and you'd like to learn how to get paid for estimates, there's a free training available that we're making available for the first time in a few years. It's simply titled Get Paid for Estimates. And you can register for that free training over at constructionleadingedge.com/get paid. GETPAID. Here's what you'll learn. You'll learn that your ideal customer wants to pay you for pre-construction work because it's in their best interest. And I'll show you how it's not hard to sell them on it when you get clear on a few things. You'll learn the 5-piece bridge that you need to have in place in order to finally get paid for estimates. You'll learn about how to sell this. You'll actually get a few questions you can ask your clients that will make them see the value in paying you for estimates. And you'll uncover some of the hidden profit bleeds on building and remodeling projects that are caused by doing free estimates. So if you are ready to end the practice of free estimates, then register for that free training. Get paid for estimates over at constructionleadingedge.com/get paid. GETPAID. Adversity produces perseverance. Let me read an excerpt from one of my favorite books, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Let's see here. Story time. Let me read this. There is no substitute for persistence. We'll say persistence and perseverance are the same thing. There's no substitute for persistence. It cannot be supplanted by any other quality. Remember this, and it will hearten you in the beginning when the going may seem difficult and slow. Those who have cultivated the habit of persistence seem to enjoy insurance against failure. No matter how many times they're defeated, they finally arrive at the top of the ladder. Sometimes it appears they have a hidden guide whose duty is to test them through all sorts of discouraging experiences. Those who pick themselves up after defeat and keep on trying arrive, and the world cries, "Bravo, I knew you could do it." The hidden guide lets no one enjoy great achievement without passing the persistence test. I'll say that again. The hidden guide lets no one enjoy great achievement without passing the persistence test. Those who can't take it simply do not make the grade. Those who can take it are bountifully rewarded for their persistence. They receive as their compensation whatever goal they are pursuing. That's not all. They receive something infinitely more important than material compensation. They receive the knowledge that every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. Every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. So pass the persistence test. Pass the persistence test. So that's why you want to manufacture adversity, because adversity, trials, temptations, hard times create persistence and perseverance, and those are superpowers. Okay, how do you do it? How do you practically manufacture adversity without coming across as a psycho? Maybe you've watched or listened to some pretty intense guys like Jocko Willink. A few years ago, he would get up at 4:30 in the morning, and you would see that he would take pictures of his watch, 4:30 in the morning, pictures of sweat puddles on the floor. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're not like David Goggins. You're not going to run for 48 hours straight and break all the bones in your feet. I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm not suggesting those guys are psychos, but you may be wondering, how can I practically do that if I'm not quite that intense? Well, here's a quote from a really old book. Here's what it says, quote, "Throw your soldiers into positions whence there is no escape. If they will face dire consequences, there is nothing they may not achieve. Officers and men alike will put forth their uttermost strength. Soldiers in desperate straits, or soldiers on desperate ground, lose the sense of fear. If there is no place of refuge, they will stand firm." This is from the ancient book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And he talked about this concept of putting your people on desperate ground. When soldiers are on desperate ground, Here's what he says. When you're on desperate ground, when you face dire consequences, there's nothing that you may not achieve. You will put in your uttermost strength. You will lose the sense of fear, and you will stand firm. So there's this concept of desperate ground. Back in 1519, the Spanish conquistador Cortez landed in Mexico, and as he began the conquest of Mexico, he allegedly burned his ships so that his men would be forced to win or die. There were basically two options. There was no going back to Spain. They burned the ships. So burning your ships is a pretty popular phrase, and here are a few translations. Burning your ships can mean to place yourself in a situation where you have no safety net, and you're totally committed to achieving your objective. In other words, you have plan A, and that's it. There is no plan B. Burning your ships means doing something that makes it impossible for yourself to turn back. In other words, to intentionally create a situation where there are consequences if you don't perform. Intentionally creating a situation where it's difficult, maybe even impossible, to back out. Maybe even a situation where there is no plan B. There's no way to get out of it. In other words, manufacturing adversity. I've interviewed a few people on this podcast multiple times, and one of them is Torrey Hawkins. And Torrey used this term when he talked about starting his business in Houston, Texas, back in the middle of the 2008 recession. I interviewed him, this was maybe 2015. I interviewed him in one of the early episodes of this podcast. And he talked about this concept of burning the ships. And he took away plan B. He gave himself only one option. He manufactured adversity. He came back on the podcast 7 or 8 years later, and you can listen to his interview on episode 274, and you'll hear how he's grown his business significantly. He's, in fact, on track to achieve $200 million in revenue. He got started because he put himself on desperate ground. He manufactured adversity. It started with a decision to burn the ships. He consciously made the decision to burn the ships and put himself on desperate ground. Okay, so let's talk about some practical ways you can use to manufacture adversity for yourself and for your team, in parentheses, without looking like a psycho. So number one, you have to place demands on yourself. There have to be demands. So if you want to manufacture adversity, there have to be some sort of demands, some sort of strain on you. You can create a situation where there are consequences if you don't perform, where it's painful or costly to back out or not perform. One example, this is an interesting example, there's something called diet betting, right? So if you want to lose weight, you can join a group, go on these websites, these diet betting websites. And if you don't hit your goal, you publicly pledge to donate $500 to an organization you hate. So if you're a big hunter and fisherman, you would pledge to give $500 to PETA if you don't hit your target. So you create a situation where it's painful or costly to back out or not achieve your goal. Number three is find something that makes you uncomfortable and do it. I knew a guy years ago. He was a tough guy, rode a motorcycle. I think he actually drove a garbage truck for a living. Pretty tough guy. And he said, you know what? I have always been terrified of spiders. I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. And he said, so you know what I did, Todd? You know what I did? I went out and bought a tarantula. I bought a tarantula and I got that thing out of the cage and I let it crawl all over my hands. He bought the tarantula because that was something that made him uncomfortable. He got tired of dealing with that fear. So find something that makes you uncomfortable and do it. Maybe buy the tarantula. The fourth strategy is one that I picked up years ago, and it's called commit, then calculate. Commit, then calculate. So you're going to commit publicly to doing something and then figure out how to make it happen. This is contrary to the typical approach, which is wait and see. I'm going to wait. There's something I want to do, but I want to wait and see how things work out before I commit. I want to do a lot of calculating before I commit. But the best way to make things happen is to commit, then calculate. Okay? The fifth strategy is something I call when you pay attention. Okay? When you pay attention. If there's something you need to do, I do this all the time. If there's something I need to do and I'm procrastinating and I'm putting it off and I'm postponing it, then I'll write a check, get out the credit card, and pay. Because when you spend money, you hack that part of the brain that says, I've got to get my money's worth out of this thing, and you will actually get your money's worth out of it. So if you want to do something, hack your brain, and because when you pay attention. So write a check, book the tickets, get the credit card out, make the financial investment, because when you pay attention. Number 6 is to hire a trainer or a coach. Hire an individual to provide a proven system, to provide accountability, to tell you what to do. All right. I hired a personal trainer about 9 months ago, and I've been going to the gym pretty consistently for the past 8 to 10 years, and I've seen more results in the last 9 months than I had in years before. And I attribute that to my trainer, Sean. And it's because he has a proven system. He tells me what to do, and I do it, and I just show up. There's nothing magical about it, but it's consistency and accountability. The 7th strategy for manufacturing some adversity is to get yourself some group accountability. All right. One of the biggest things you're missing if you're out there on your own as a business owner is accountability. Your team's not holding you accountable. You don't have anybody to hold you accountable. You don't have a boss. If you're out there by yourself, you're on an island, and it's lonely. And you may set a goal, and you just don't do it. And there are no consequences because nobody's holding you accountable. So our clients are getting tremendous results with this combination of some of these strategies we just talked about, working with our coaches, being part of a group inside of our Systematize Your Construction business program. You can hear about all the results that they're experiencing over at constructionleadingedge.com/results, or just go to constructionleadingedge.com and hit the results tab up at the top. You'll be able to hear some of their stories. And then one of the newest programs we've rolled out in recent months is our high-level CEO Alliance. And the members in the CEO Alliance are seeing the real power of manufacturing adversity, setting goals, publicly committing, and having that group accountability too. So let's recap. Every adversity is an opportunity. The harder it is, the more value it holds. Adversity makes us better if we let it. Growth and comfort can't ride the same horse. Growth and comfort do not coexist. Perseverance is a superpower. And the only way to develop perseverance is through adversity. So go out there and manufacture some adversity. Adversity is good for you. It's the only way you grow. It's the only way you get better. It's the only way you build perseverance. Perseverance is a superpower. So I have a challenge for you. We're all about taking action. If you don't take action, quite frankly, the last 20 minutes or so may be interesting, but you won't really get any value out of it. So here's my challenge for you. 2 questions. First question. What is something that you want to accomplish that would be meaningful for you? Something that would move the needle in your life. Could be growing your business, streamlining your business. It could be your health. It could be relationships. But what is something that you want to accomplish that would be meaningful in your life? Think about that for a few minutes. And then the second question is, how can you manufacture adversity for yourself in a way that would cause you to achieve that thing that you want to change, the thing you want to accomplish in your life? How can you manufacture some adversity? Maybe there's something you know that you need to do. something you've been thinking about, something you've been putting off, something you've been calculating about for a long time, holding off on committing to something that's just been bugging you and you know you need to do it, but you just haven't pulled the trigger yet. So I want you to pick something that you know you need to do and then pick one of these strategies, right? Place some demands on yourself, create a situation where there are consequences if you don't perform. Maybe you need to buy the tarantula. Perhaps you need to commit, then calculate, make a public commitment, and then figure it out later. Then there's maybe you need to pay so that you'll pay attention. Maybe you need to make a financial investment so that you'll actually pay attention. Perhaps you need to hire a trainer or a coach. Or maybe you need to get yourself some group accountability. So pick one of those strategies, commit to it, create some adversity for yourself so that you can accomplish that thing, so that you can grow, so that you can get better, so that you can create some adversity so you'll get full benefits. And if one of the things you want to do is to systematize your business, to professionalize your business so that it's more organized, so that your team has clearly defined roles and responsibilities. If you want to spend less time putting out day-to-day fires, if you want to grow the business, if you want to slide into that CEO seat and work on the business instead of working in the business, and if you want your business to run without you to some degree, if you're tired of profit bleeds, if you're tired of stress, if you're tired of the sleepless nights, then here are two resources that could be valuable for you. Number one is our free webinar that hundreds of people have watched called Get Out of Your Business, How to Make It Run Without You. Go check that out over at constructionleadingedge.com/get out. That's constructionleadingedge.com/GETOUT. Watch that free webinar that's helped hundreds of people. The second thing I would offer is to schedule a call with our team. If you would like our help to systematize your business and show you the proven systems that our clients are using to get those results, and the process is pretty simple. Just set up a free business evaluation. We'll get on a call. We'll help you set clear objectives. Then we can help establish a plan with the crucial systems that you need to systematize your construction business. And the first step to do that is to schedule a call over at constructionleadingedge.com/apply. constructionleadingedge.com/APPLY. So there you go. Go out there, manufacture some adversity for yourself, manufacture some adversity for your team. Thanks for listening. I'm Todd DeWalt. We'll talk soon.